Hey everyone, I'm Elizabeth White from Liz's Room, and I'm literally ecstatic for today's guest. She's a Jersey native who is now living in LA. I like to call her the host with the most. She has countless interviews with celebrities, whether it's on red carpets or even her own platform. We've seen her on TMZ, Revolt, and currently a guest host on Ease the Rundown. I'm talking about none other than the beautiful Shynieka Shy Taylor.
Yes, that was a good intro. Got me feeling all special
Yeah.
and whatnot.
No, I just want to thank you so much for talking with me today. No, first and foremost, I just want to say you are doing it, whether it's your own
Um,
stuff or seeing your multiple networks back to back. I always say this to you that you are very inspiring, and
um,
seeing your worth ethic. And I don't really know what word to use, but you're truly one of a kind. So
I
props to
appreciate that.
you.
I really
Props to
do.
you. Yeah, so no, I know you're originally from New Jersey, but you lived in Atlanta for some years before moving across the country to LA. And I know East Coast, West Coast, polar opposites. And I read in an article that you said the biggest risk you took that had the greatest impact was moving across the country to Los Angeles with no place, no family or job. You were down to your last $75 and you had to go to a Dame Dash event to pitch yourself for a job. Now,
Girl, you hold on. You really studied me.
I
You
sure
better, you
did.
better be a journalist.
Yeah. So,
Because normally I have to say this story over and over and over. The simple fact of the matter, I don't gotta say it. Like,
yeah.
shout out to you.
But needless to say, you're living in LA for almost 5 years now, so because of that, how did you know that was the move to go? Because you could have went anywhere, but how do you know LA was calling you?
When I was in Atlanta, I felt like I reached a plateau. Like I felt the ceiling.
Mhm.
And when it clicks, it just clicks. Like you're gonna know, like when something inside of you is just gonna be like, I need more.
Yeah.
And that's I don't even believe that's something inside of you. I think that's the voice of God. I always would say God will tell you when it's time to go. Now, whether we want to listen to that voice or not is up to us. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I can honestly say I might have a problem listening to that voice when it comes down to like personal, but when it comes down to career, I never have a problem listening to that voice for some reason why. Like when it's time for me to be out, I'm out. And I just felt it. I felt like I could offer so much more. I was doing so much red carpets in Atlanta, but it wasn't really like kind of like what Denzel said. I could tell I was moving but going nowhere. And I'm the type of person where it's progress. Now I'm patient. I'll stay in that pocket and I'll wait for it to open up because I understand patience is a virtue and you got to do it over and over and over and over. Sometimes it's about timing, but it was almost like God was saying, girl, you gotta go. And normally when God is telling you that, he will confirm it through another individual. So I went to the NBC host a workshop sponsored by American Black Film Festival. It was something that they used to do back in the day all the time. And honestly, hopefully they bring it back because as somebody who is an aspiring TV personality or journalist, I really do believe that you want to get into that, because it really helped me. But anyway, they had a workshop and I went to the workshop. I wasn't on TV yet. I hadn't done any TV. Everything was personal street work. And they did select me and I went through the workshop and I was selected to have a talent meeting with Bravo TV through the workshop. So it was a big deal because it later helped me on in my career. However, her name is Kendra and she was a talent scout and she hit me immediately and she was just like, Shy, I can see your ambition. I see you truly want it, but all roads lead to LA. So when she said that, after I already felt like it's time to dip, I was like, boom. And I also was reading a book that my uncle gave me, and I would encourage everybody to read it. It's called The Richest Man to Ever Live. It's based up around King Solomon and his principles about being wealth, not only wealthy monetarily wise, but intangible, like internally, like how to really truly live a wealthy life. And it said the number one reason a lot of people are not successful is because they do not seek and listen to counsel. They will not go and listen to people who have already done it before them. We all think we're know-it-alls. We're like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I don't need to listen to you. And I can honestly say every time I listen to someone who knows what they're talking about or has done it before me, it has always worked out. So she said, move to LA. I was like, all right. And then I came with the big dogs.
Like, were you nervous? Like, because you did say like you had no family, nothing.
Girl, I realized I have a lot of courage. I was coming off of terrible breakup, terrible breakup that was lasted for like 10 years. And I always get emotional talking about this because I remember where I was mentally, not knowing who I was. My identity was within that relationship. So yeah, I was still doing what I was doing, but I kind of had that crutch for somebody always still validating what I was doing. So when you took that voice of validation out and it was just me and God, I really had to put all my full trust in God. And what I can honestly say is that even though I was crying, because I did not want to come, while I was coming, I did not want to come, but I used God. Like I relied on him to know like, yo, if everything you say in your word is true, then we should come out winning. Although I'm broken on the inside, I'm trusting on you to make me whole. Although I'm fearful, I'm trusting on you to give me the extra courage. Although I don't really want to do this because I can't see straight, I'm trusting you to be my visionary. And when I tell you, the moment I let go, say, you know what? I don't have to have a plan. I don't have to have structure. I don't have to have stability. I'm just going to go in this thing with God first. God said, yo, I got you. I'm going to put the pieces together right when you get here. I just need you to walk. And he did that. He did that for me. And I'm extremely grateful.
And I love how you talk about God too, like firm believer.
Yeah, because honestly, I'm going to keep it real. And I know like people are just going to say, yeah, you always talking about God. Why don't you become a preacher? Because I've heard that a lot of times. But the reality is that without God, this thing don't move. I don't move. This machine doesn't move for me. I legitimately approach this career not by sight, but by faith. So yeah, like people can say, well, she's very entertaining and she's very talented. I'm telling y'all, the reason why you're able to look up and see me in certain spaces is because the favor of the Lord. It's because God just figured it out. So this whole thing, again, if I don't believe in God, it doesn't work for me. I can't move.
Yeah, you've been hosting or guest hosting, but main host soon. But you've been hosting the
Yes.
Down
Speaking
East.
over my life,
Yes.
sister.
Since 2022. And even though, we all love Aaron, I'm not gonna lie, it does something for me when I see you on there. That's why I love
I appreciate
like I get excited, like, oh, she's on here, yes. But because I like seeing someone that looks like me, in such a, to me, like a prestigious network. So can you talk about how you got there? Because clearly they love you, as we all do, because they want you back.
Yes, I love E. I love the rundown. I love them with everything, like the loyalty that they have showed me over the years. Because remember, when I first came in, it was a lineup of hosts. It wasn't just me. It was a lineup. And I fought. Like one thing about me is when I'm in it, I'm in it. Like it's showtime. So my preparation work, like I'm telling you, I was, and I already get up early, 3 a.m, but I was going to bed early, 1 a.m. I was like, I'm going to prepare these stories and I'm going to execute to the best of my ability. And what I can honestly say is that it worked out in my favor. So how I got the thing. Again, remember what I said, this machine doesn't work without God. So I was sitting on my bed and I had lost the contract. There was a show I was on before all of this. It was called TMZ No Filter. It came kind of like during like the pandemic. Yo, that was my show because I legitimately got the proper training that I needed to get so that y'all can see me perform the way I perform on E. Honestly, the shows were very similar, right? And I had an amazing showrunner. His name is Shane Farley, and he coached me down to the T, girl. Like when I say he coached me down to the T, like he got me right. Okay. So I had a showrunner and a coach and a friend all in one. Like God just blessed me, right? And I remember sitting after the contracts ended. I remember sitting down because this was during the pandemic. So you got to remember, a lot of production wasn't even moving. And I was like, where do I go from here, God? Like, you brought me all the way up here. And as soon as I felt like I was about to break through the doors, because I had signed a 3-year contract, my contract was done by 6 months because the entire act kind of crashed. So I was like, God, like, what do you want me to do? And all I remember is me sitting on my bed and maybe like a year passed. Now we're in a year. Okay. And I wasn't even living like that pandemic life, like where everybody's like, we outside. I was inside, baby. Outside was expensive.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was on unemployment. So I gotta save my coin.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was sitting on my bed and I said, I don't know what to do. I've been applying to different shows. No one's picking me up. So I wrote down a list. I said, well, where do you want to work? And I was like, well, I want to try E. It was E, Entertainment Tonight, and Access. And I was like, God, if you could just get me there. You know, I just remember this like, yes, I'm about to cry, girl. And I was writing it down. I said, God, if you could just get me there. And his name is AJ. AJ, if you see this, hey, he is somebody who is going to be a well-prestigious talent agent one day. But, you know, I like working with AJ because he's very smart. He's from, you know, we went to college together, but he was telling me, he was like, you know, let's work together. And I'm like, yeah, period. Like, I always like working with people from back at home because it's so much structure and grit from back at home. And they get it because they know what you want to do because they see where you come from. So I was like, AJ, like, I was like, if I could just get to E, like, you know, we gonna be straight, like, this gonna help, like, you know, the brand, like the business, like, just get to E. And he was like, yeah. He was like, well, you know, like, how you going to do it? I was like, I don't know. So I remember writing this down, and I'm very big on waking up in the morning, like very big. And I was talking to God about this. I'm like, God, if you could just get me to I just kept saying this, just get me to E, just get me to E. I lied to y'all night. 1 week later, I was in the Facebook group. Anybody who wants to be a host, go to this Facebook group. It's called Host in LA. And they were like, E, the rundown, looking for a guest host. 1 week later, after I said, God, just get me to E, right? So I'm like, oh, snap, this ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. I knew the moment I saw that post, this ain't got nothing to do with anyone else. And this is what happens when you have a personal relationship with God. You know when he's talking to you. So I'm sure everybody else thought he was talking to him. I would like to call myself God's favorite. He wasn't talking to y'all. He was talking to me because I just asked him to go to this specific network. So I knew, and God knew I was in that group. God specifically sent that thing down there for me. I knew my name was on it. And that's another thing, when you know something's for you, it's a different feeling. It wasn't just me shooting my shot. I saw my name on E before I saw the post because I said I need to get there. By the time I got the post, I was already 2 days late for the self-tape. So I'm like, I don't have time because the post was like, oh, you got to make up your version of what you would like the rundown to be. I was like, I don't got time for that because I'm already 2 days late. I can't think creatively and really bring it. So you know what I did? This is how I know this was for me. And you're going to be like, girl, this is crazy. Yes. Remember, my machine doesn't operate unless I go through God. I was like, well, I looked at Eat a Rundown and I was like, all right, well, they want something of like a self-tape that's similar to E. And I was like, well, your last show, No Filter, was given like E vibes. You know, it was given rundown vibes. It really was. Like, I was going in. So I was like, all right, well, just take your clips, your best clips, put it together. It's going to take 5 minutes and submit because you ain't got time now. And that's exactly what I did. A day later, and they were like, we had over 2,000 submissions. You are a breath of fresh air. We need that interview. That is how I know that I was called to be over there. But I want to take it back, okay? I'm going to take you back a little bit. And you're the first person I opened up and told you about this part of this testimony because everything only operates through God. When I did No Filter for TMZ, that was the first show where I was kind of the star of my own segment because working at TMZ, like you're working in that newsroom, you get a little sound bites, but then being on No Filter, people are able to see my personality. They were able to see my opinion. So it really set me up. And I remember every day going on the show because I was like, God, I said, God, I want a talk show out of this. I know that we can get a show. Like, this is the moment I've been waiting for. Like, let's go. So my showrunner, who's Shane, he used to be a producer on the Steve Harvey talk show. That was the showrunner that I worked with personally. That's how he was able to train me to be so lit, right? And I remember like telling him like this stuff, right? And then remember the show ended. Like the show ended. So I was like, dang, God, I really thought like I was going to be here for 3 years and we was going to get a show out of here. But I was grateful anyway. I was like, but I thank you for what you have done. Before that interview with E, I called Shane and I said, hey, I got this audition with E and they want to interview me. He helped me for that interview and I got to E. And I say all this to say is that sometimes what we ask for is a process and God is building it because I don't really believe, like, I believe I was meant to be there, but it was a reason for Shane to be in my life because he's the person I called for to nail that interview like that. And we blew it out the park. but that came from no filter. So God got me to E a long time ago, years ago. He was planning that. And that's why I said, wasn't nobody else's name on that. So then when they had like all the other hosts and all this other stuff, I already knew. I said, it's game time. But that's another thing I want to say. And then, I'm going to stop because I can talk forever. But there's another thing I want to say that is very important for everybody listening. When God gives you an opportunity, you need to prepare for that so you don't blow it. And a lot of people, they just take the opportunities, but they kind of handle it like they're not grateful. I knew like these opportunities were favors. So I said, okay, God, I don't want to be like not preparing for this opportunity would have been a slap in the face to God. I made sure, I said, you get up early. You go, you practice in the mirror early. You deliver like you ain't ever going to deliver before. And you do your research early. You need to do this day in and day out. And then you're going to go get the people and then you're going to get them to champion behind you. And it was tiring because I don't like asking people for nothing because people don't really like doing stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I was just like, I got to do this and I'm going to prepare. So when everybody came in the mix, I just knew, I said, y'all don't understand. I prepared for this. There's no way the only way I'm going to lose is if God specifically doesn't want me to have this, right? And that's what preparation will do. It will make sure that you gave your best self so you don't even second guess. Now, when I don't get things, I literally know that it's because that's what God doesn't want from me. It ain't got nothing to do with me because I prepared for it.
It's like affirmations too, but for myself.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you got this. You got this. I've paid attention to you, and and one thing about you is you're extremely consistent and you work extremely hard. And I'm gonna tell you, although the road may look long, you're going to get there. I've been there before, and I remember looking up. I think I was watching. What's what I was watching? Power. I watched something where I was like, girl, I see you.
Oh, yeah, I was on there before, yeah.
You're putting yourself in the room. You're putting yourself in position. And see, these are the little things that people don't talk about. Everybody wants them big. No, it's these little steps, brick by brick, that get you there. You just show up, put yourself in the room. Because that's literally what I did in Atlanta. I can honestly say, I think my work ethic in Atlanta was more crazier than it is now because I was so hungry because I needed to figure out. So I put myself in every room, and I can see now how putting myself in rooms then opening up now because people remember me. Oh, yeah, because you was over here on this carpet. Oh, yeah, because you was over here. Oh, I got an opportunity for you now. See, because now my resume is a little different.
Yeah.
Now, that's how people are. They might not be able to see it. You got to show them, and they like, okay, I can see it now. So keep showing up for yourself. It's going to pay off.
You said before, there's not always a seat open. So either someone opens a seat for you or you create your own seat. And, you seem to have created yours with your own platform as well. And coming from someone who's doing the same like me, I know it's not easy whatsoever. So whether it's reaching out to people or their team to interview them, how do you handle the no's or the I'll get back to you and then they don't get back to you, or the plain as like you just don't hear back from them? So does that ever make you discouraged? And if so, like, how do you overcome that?
Yes, girl. It used to get me down. I do not like being rejected. I don't like people undermining me. I don't like that feeling of you're unworthy, you're not valuable, we don't see the value in you, right? That really used to get to me. Now it doesn't. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I've shifted my mentality. Because I know who I am. So you might not see value in this. It is truly your loss.
Yeah.
And how I got to that mentality is because I understand who I serve. When you serve a God who's the God of all resources, when you serve a God who's a God that can make something out of nothing, when you serve a God who can from darkness make light, you understand that just being connected to him, everything I touch now has value. And I just want to say this for encouragement because a lot of people get discouraged, get denied because I know how people are. Oh, you're not the biggest thing. I don't want to interview with you. Oh, you don't got mad followers. I don't want to interview with you. I needed people to shut that door in my face so I can figure out who I was, right? You need that, to be honest. So don't shy away from it. Embrace it. Like, okay, I see you. You know what I mean? The problem is you don't see me, and that's good, because when you're underestimated, it fuels you differently, right? And I remember me coming up and I'm trying to like figure out like, why are these people rejecting me? Do they see my tapes? Like I can do the work. Like, and do they see me put in the work? Like, what is it, God? And God says, sometimes, I'm going to hide you. I'm going to hide you from the world to protect you. So I just use that motivation. Like, yo, honestly, the rejection is protection. You know what I'm saying? It's on you, because God is going to get me to the other side. And I've had time, I can tell you how many times, girl, people have followed back years later. Oh, yeah, because I want you to interview my client. Oh, you do? I remember one time I talked to a talent scout for a certain network. And they was trying to give me the cold shoulder, and I was going hard, reaching out to them, following up. And I could be a little aggressive. I get it, because when I truly want something, ain't no telling how aggressive I could get. Yeah, I'm from Jersey, so you gotta remember that. So maybe I was being a little too, but I remember me submitting and just trying to like get my foot in. And they were looking for an opening, and then they just stopped talking to me. And I was just like, dang it. I was like, okay. This is probably right before I got to TMZ, right before. As soon, mind you, this network, this company was offering a digital platform. They wasn't really offering TV time. As soon as they saw me get to LA and be on TMZ, the same talent scout wanted to talk. Can't talk to you now. I'm on contract. Sorry. Sometimes people won't value you until the people they value you. That's on them, though. Your lack of vision has nothing to do with me. You not believing in me has nothing to do with it. I know the God I serve. I know his promises are true, and I know what he has told me. I know exactly who I am, and I know exactly where I'm going to end up. So either you want to get on my side or you don't. And it ain't got nothing to do with you trying to link up with me. It just has to do with I have a certain connection with God. I'm telling y'all for real. None of this stuff would have worked if it wasn't for God. One thing about God, he's going to always make sure his children have a spot and position. One thing about God, he always has room for you. He always has room for you. And when you start to really believe that, like, dang, little old me, you're turning a little old me, an ordinary girl from Jersey, a little old conservative girl from Jersey who has no training in broadcast journalism, none of it. I had no connections in the entertainment industry. None. I really did start from the mud. I literally just moved to
school for this.
No, baby. I went to
Oh
school for political science. I wanted to be the president of the United States of America.
Oh my God. I for this. Wow.
No. And that's what happens when you serve a powerful God. You see, all the rules don't apply to you when you serve God. But this is the reason why you got to know who you are. And that's why I wanted that to sit with you. Know who you are. How do you know who you are? I know who I serve. Because before I show up as Shy, before I show up as Nika, because some people call me Nika, or before I show up as Shynieka, I belong to the king. And when you belong to the king, everything is yours. You can command things and they come. That manifestation thing is real, but you got to have a personal relationship with God. Like I talk to God every day. So when I put that on my paper and said, God, this is what I want, he made it happen instantaneously. Now, everything's not going to always work out that way, but understand that I understand that God is the head of my ship. And that's why I said I can sit back. And that's in all things, not just career-wise. It could be a man. It could be family. People can literally look at me and be like, well, it looks like you're going through a storm right now, so it looks like you're not going to make it. I've had that. People have said this to me before, legitimately. And I would just look at them like, you just don't get it, do you? This ain't got nothing to do with me, nor you. It's already written. So you can't tell me where this ship is going because you didn't create me. You didn't create it. You're not my creator. And because I have a personal relationship with God, I understand his promises are true. So that's just something that I just want to keep encouraging you with. Like whoever your higher power is, hopefully is the God I serve. Because I just don't believe there's a bigger God than the God I serve. Now I'm just talking about talk. Like that's just real. Like I don't disrespect to all the religions. I love all y'all. But the reality is I know what my God has done for me. I know specifically conversations. He has saved me time and time again. And he has really nailed this thing in. I always look up, girl, and I know like everybody's probably like, well, it's normal to y'all now, but I always look up and I was like, you do realize you kind of wrote this into you wrote yourself, you willed yourself into a space that you weren't even supposed to be in. So they said, you didn't have the school. I didn't have the money either. It's not just the schooling. I didn't grow up on that side of the street. Okay. I understand oodles and noodles. Now I'm just being real. Humble beginnings for a reason, though. It's for a reason, you know? And because of that, if God can do it for me, and I look up every day like, dang, like, bro, there was times where I looked at my bank account. It might be $100 left. See, I'm self-funded. Ain't nobody sponsoring this.
Yeah.
Only God. That's how I know this is real, because I don't have no sugar daddy. I don't have no, oh, who paying her rent?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? None of that. This is real talk. And that's how I know. I'm like, yo, this spiritual thing is real. I had a sacrifice. Like, okay, you're going to have to hustle harder to make your coin in this arena, because this is where you're supposed to be. So for now, you might not have all that money, but we're going to make it work. That's what God has told me. And I'm still here fighting in LA, still here.
And you stated before
Yes.
that you want your own show. So, and I truly believe, that will happen for you. So I just want to know, and I'm sure that people want to know too, what does your own show look like to you?
My own show is definitely going to be pop culture with a little remix of inspirational, right? It's going to be those two worlds colliding, because I'm so big on the inner stuff that even my takes, if people don't pay attention, 9 times out of 10, it has a lesson in the take. I'm not just saying like, oh, this is going on, these people are dating. I'm finding some type of lesson to pull out of there. Right. So that's definitely going to be my show. My show is going to be very pop culture. I do know that it will be lit. Like, I really believe that my show is going to be the first to ever be that lit. Like, I want performances. I want to discover people through my show. I want to be able to really make change in the community, but I also want people to be able to come to my show and it be vibes. Now, I know TV is kind of it may die off. Like, the way the direction is going, we might not have syndicated shows, but I don't care if this is a digital show and I have still an open space where people can come sit down and get tickets. I'm going to do it like that. But yeah, girl, it's going to be so lit though, because I've been to different talk shows. And one thing about me, I'm extremely intentional. So I'm always taking notes, always seeing okay, that was great. Keep that. What could you have done better here? Because I'm walking into where I'm going to be. So I always know you got to be a student of the game, because I understand that everybody is always money is not the rule, won't make you happy. Well, neither does poverty.
Yeah.
I'm telling y'all that right now. I feel better when there's a little money in my pocket. I'm not saying you got to be rich, but I've been broke and looking at the wall, and I don't wish that on nobody. Okay. Yeah. So that's all. I want to be in that position so that I can help people who are in those circumstances that they may want to chase a dream or may not even want to chase a dream. They're just trying to be successful in life, and their circumstances are constantly telling them you cannot. My heart really goes out to that community. So when I get this show, although it's going to be a pop culture show, it's going to be a lit show, I really plan on walking with God and helping change real lives and change real circumstances.
I mean, you have the look, you have the talent, the work ethic, you're the whole package. So I know
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it, but I will say this, it's all about purpose, right? And I think if you know your purpose, it has to happen, because this has to do with your calling. And since a little girl, I've always held a microphone. Always. I grew up in the church. One thing it taught us at a very young age is that you can't be afraid when you got to stand up for who you're standing up for. And that was God. Everything I'm doing isn't forced. There's no gimmicks to this. I can just show up as me. This is me. This is me. This is who I am. And that's why it works, because the purpose of talking, the purpose of speaking, pouring life into, or bringing attention to a certain issue, that's always been in me. Hence why I wanted to go in politics. I wanted to be a champion of the people. This is literally me. And when I had to take extra gigs that had nothing to do with this, I could feel the purpose leaving me. There's nothing that gets me or more excited. There's nothing that drives me more than to do this. There's been times where like I don't know, it could be a situation where they're just like, why can't you just talk and it don't sound like a speech? Like this isn't a show. And I'm like to them, like, this is not a written out speech. This is just how I talk. I realized I was like, they're not trying to play you. They just brought something to light to you that you're really operating in your gift because there ain't no effort. This ain't no speech you read out. This is just how you move. This is how you talk. So I want to say that like, yeah, like I get, like, I'm grateful for and flattered for all the compliments and all the support and the encouragement. It goes a long way and it really helps me. But I really do believe like this is where I'm supposed to be and where I belong. Like this is where I belong. I can't see myself doing anything else. Like if they turned off the cameras, like I will be out there in the field, in the streets with a microphone. Listen up, listen up.
I feel like this kind of ties into it too, because like I know you started at Shy University and you share motivational, quotes. And when I say that they help me when I'm feeling down, they do. Especially like, I don't know, I'm like, I just turned 30 like a couple months ago, and I feel like even being 30, like
Yes,
I feel like
I know
that's the
the
hardest
feeling,
year I've had in
sister.
my life, so far. I'm only 3 months in, but I feel like it's like one of the hardest years. So, seeing the motivational stuff you post, it really does help. And, so I'm just like, I can only imagine when you're feeling down, and you're not 100% yourself, but you're still shedding
Woo.
people. So I just want to know, like, who do you or what do you look for in motivation when you're not feeling, you?
Dang, I don't want to cry, but
Oh.
when you're used to being the one that pours, when you're used to being the one that uplifts everybody else, when you're used to being like, I gotta be that rock, right? Because I gotta help be the shoulders for people to stand on. It gets very lonely. Because you don't realize how much it's about the gift, right? And this is outside of like talking and like entertaining people. Um, this ain't got nothing to do with talent. I really do believe that my gift is to motivate people so that they can see their better selves. Like this ain't got nothing to do with me. This has everything to do with God. Like we're all special and we're all somebody. And I need you to understand that you are powerful if you tap into that. And because I believe that's my gift, I've also realized that's not other people's gifts. That's not their gift, Nika. And you can't penalize them or get mad when they're not pouring that back into you because that's not the assignment God has for them. So my motivation, to be completely honest, I got a couple of friends that be there, but for the most part, it's me talking to myself. It's me talking to God and talking right back to myself. So when I'm talking to y'all, I'm talking to me too. 9 times out of 10, I'm encouraging and pushing myself out of a rut that I'm in. And it can become extremely lonely because it's heavy. It is so heavy. But that's what I've realized too. That's what the blessing is and gifts. Not only do you get to watch everybody else get inspired and help change their lives because you're operating in your gift, you realize you can do it for yourself. So
No, I
yeah.
have a feeling of that like I'm in the middle of like going through like, well, depression and all that. And I know like what triggered it, but then it's like stuff gets put on top and on top. And in my friend group, I'm the strong one, and there's only so much that you can handle.
Yeah.
And now like I'm gonna get teary-eyed, but it's like only so much you can handle. And I like just last week, like I broke down, like I was crying like at work. I was just crying when I go
Yeah.
home. And I'm just like, what? And I feel like I don't have a reason to be sad. Cause it's like, oh, you have so
Yeah.
much. And it's like, I know there's people who have worse. I have friends who have worse. And,
Yeah.
just, I have this one friend, Christelle, shout out to her. She is one of my friends that I know, like I can go to about anything. She is like my
Yeah.
friend. Like she is there for me, make me laugh. And, she told me like, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay
Yeah.
to not be happy all the time. It's okay to just like
Yeah.
cry, let it out. So, I feel you on that because, I'm like I'm their my friend's strong friend. And
Yeah.
taking in their stuff too, it's heavy, because I got my own stuff going on. I
Yeah.
don't say anything, but it's just I feel you on
But
that.
I will say shout out to my best friend. She has the reason why she's my best friend. I'm very intentional on who I choose, right? I don't just like giving titles just because it sounds cute.
Yeah.
Like, what made her my best friend? And I can say is because she shows up for me and sacrifices. I can tell she'll be going through it, but she'll listen to me. And that to me is an amazing character to have. And I just pray that I'm there for her in the way that she's there for me, because I know that sometimes her just listening to me, even if she doesn't have the right words to say, she doesn't understand, like being able to be vulnerable and open up and talk about a world that she has no idea what I'm talking about. And she got kids, and she got a man, and I know sometimes I'm probably calling her and she's just like, girl, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they don't have that. They don't have the confidence to sit with themselves. Sometimes we really do. All we got to do is just sit, meditate in peace, be still, and it will be all right. So, and that is something I think a lot of people need to adopt. Like, don't get into a rut with like, oh, she's trying to say like we don't need. No, that's not what I'm saying. Yes, you can use those people, but understand there's going to be a time, especially if you're an ambitious person or you're just a person that strives to be better. There's going to come a time where no one's going to answer the phone. They're going through their own things. How can you handle that? I'm telling you how to handle it. I've been through a lot, so I can take on a lot. That's the reason why we go through things, to get stronger, not to be weaker. So because of that, I can listen to somebody else, take that in, pour it back into them, then look in the mirror and pour it back into myself. God has given me that ability, and actually I'm honored. I'm actually honored to be the strong friend. I'm honored to be somebody where people can call and just say what it is, no judgment, and I got you. That is a position I don't even take lightly, because I understand you got to be equipped to be that person, So I think the most part I handle it is by just sitting with myself.
I just want to know, I mean, you kind of said stuff before, but what is some advice that you can give to those who think it's either too late to start, or those who don't have a support system, or they're just afraid of failure?
I think my biggest advice I would give to an individual who is afraid, because all of those things come from a sense of fear. But it brings me back to the scripture, fear not, I am with you. It's okay to be fearful, but you don't have to be. You start whenever. And you can do it afraid. When I came to LA, I was afraid. I'm not afraid to say that. I was extremely afraid. I told God, I don't know. This is a little loony. Like, I started questioning if I needed to check myself in. Because I said, this is Looney Tune. You ain't got no plan. You don't have no plan. How you gonna make it off a credit card? And first of all, I'm gonna tell y'all that my credit is in shambles because I did that. But God actually brought me out of that too, because it's back up.
Yeah.
It took me a while. It took me some time though. But again, if I didn't bet on myself, more importantly, if I didn't bet on God to come through and do what he said that he promised, there are promises in the word. And if you believe in God as much as you believe in God, even through your fear, you will see that, hey, if you be obedient, I got you. Or, if you tell the people about me, I got you. And that is the reason why I said, for the most part, this thing is spiritual. So anybody who's afraid to start, I would just say that you got to get a spiritual connection. God don't put no age on nothing. Look at Morgan Freeman. Look at Samuel L. Jackson. It took them a minute. I'm sure the world was saying you're a joke. For all you people out there with the mixtapes, because I know I'm sick of it. So I know the world's sick of it. And I love people who chase dreams. But the bottom line is, it's not up to me. And it's not up to the world. It's up to you. This is your life. Mm-hmm. And the decisions you make will dictate your outcome. And if you do it from a place of fear, and not believing in who you serve, you're never going to get there. It's never going to happen because you doubted yourself. You really have to believe. And I know it sounds cliche, but you got to be delusional with it. Yeah. You cannot limit yourself. We can only receive how you see yourself. People believe in me now because I believe in myself. Ain't got nothing to do with I've been seeing that and you saw it in me because I made you see it in me. I want to be very transparent because I think with the career things a little different for me. I'm already locked in. I'm gonna keep it real. But when I start talking about other things, a little different. Like when we're talking about, I want to be married. I want to be very clear. I want to be married. I'm not a city girl. I don't run the streets. I am a wholesome, God-fearing, praying woman. Okay. And I'm not afraid to say that. I also want to be a mother one day, but I can't be a mother unless I'm married because you're not gonna catch me out here being a big mom.
Yeah.
That's what that's gonna happen. Okay. But anyway. So with that being said, that was the most, that's the part where it starts getting a little different. I have a lot of confidence in my career, but now I want to speak from a place of vulnerability because maybe it can help people when it comes down to their career. Like we can relate on that end. But I'm very fearful. Is this going to happen?
Yeah.
Because I'm 32, and the older you get, the more, I don't know why, it just seems like, what is going on? Either the market is crazy, who you're dealing with is acting up, you know what I'm saying? And you're like, God, I have to be protected. I cannot be out here dealing with a whole bunch of people. I don't deal with a whole bunch of people, right? For you to damage me and break my heart and just kind of tear it up. I can't take those tears. And I get fearful because I'm like, either people don't really seem equipped for that type of job. They approach marriage like it's a business. Like, what can you do for me? And how are we going to be? That's not how I approach. I'm a God-fearing marital person. How are we going to honor God and serve God through our connection? So I just move like a wife. That's why I don't be out. That's why. Look, if you want to be a wife, you got to move like one. That's why you won't catch me. And I know people are going to be like, oh, here she go. Here she go. But I'm going to keep it real. You will not catch me outside jumping on tables, cheeks hanging out, twerking. You won't see me doing it. I don't care how much of a popular. Remember when like the Busted challenge came? That challenge was lit and I was for it. But did you see me outside doing it? No, because I said my future husband's probably looking and he waiting. Like what we really talking about? Like if you really get down to what you're saying, that's why you gotta be careful what you're saying. Words got a lot of power. And I'm big on words. So girl, that's all I'm saying. I'm very fearful because I don't know, because with these boneheads out here.
Girl, listen, I feel this is a word. All of this is a word that I needed to hear, and I feel like so many others probably need to hear too. Not even probably, I know they need to hear. So I'm like super thankful that you took the time out to speak with me.
Yes.
But before you go, I do play a game with my guests. So I need you to
Let's
pick
play.
Yep, pick 3 letters.
S for shy, P for period, sign on. And A, because it's the first.
So using those 3 letters, I want you to find 3 words of encouragement to give your 18-year-old self.
Ooh.
And then you got to say why you picked those words. So start with S.
Okay. Strength. I would tell my 18-year-old self, you are stronger than you think you are. P for period. Like I said, because I think at 18, I always second guessed what I already knew because God already placed it inside me. So I would definitely tell my 18-year-old self, girl, what you do, put a period at the end of it. And then I definitely said A, and I would say anointed. Okay. And the biggest advice I would give is what I'm telling myself is I'm not anointed. Go where the anointing is. Go hang with those who are anointed. Okay. And I think that's very big. I don't think a lot of people understand that, but energy is transferable, right? And we talk about it again in such negative connotations where it's like, I can't be around this person because they blocking my blessings, or your energy is draining me. So I can't be around you because you down, so you going to bring me down. But nobody talks about the other end of the stick and the other end of the spectrum. When the reality is, just like somebody can drag you down, somebody can pull you up. Yo, there are special people out here. And if you attach yourself to special people, you get some of those blessings. It's the same thing. Go find your tribe. There are people, when I tell you, there's this dude out here, like he's this dude out here. He's going to be mad I said that because he is not a dude. That's like my brother. I met him and it was something about him. I just couldn't, it was something genuine. I couldn't really tell, but we clicked because, I don't know if because we were both Leos or it was just a level of ambition. We were at an event and we clicked. Automatically, we clicked. He was doing his thing. I was doing my thing and we just clicked. And what I can honestly say, getting to know him, he has put my name in so many rooms. And it's not about him putting my name in rooms. People love him so much that anytime he says a name, they just want to love on that name. That makes sense. You become blessed hanging around with the blessed. Sunshine, light, vibrant. You can already feel your spirits like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? That type of thing.
There you have it. Please let everyone know where to find you online.
Yes. Yes. And before I let everyone know, I just want to let you know, though, and I don't leave without doing this to people either, that you are very beautiful. You are very bright. Your future's bright. You don't need me to tell you this. I'm just giving you your praises because you deserve. Okay. You've earned that. And you are already like just how you are. You're enough. You really are enough. You don't got to prove anything to anybody. I see you, and I know if I see you, they see you. So I just hope that you see you. That's all. You got this, girl. And I look forward. I look forward later on. Like, remember when we did that interview? Looking now. I'm sure I'm gonna have to try to get in an interview with you. I'm sure your phone will be ringing off the hook. I'm so sure of that. But yes, y'all can find me at Shy Said So on everything. Shy with a Y. Don't confuse yourself. SHY is very simple. And yeah, that's on all platforms.
I just love your spirit and everything you represent. So please continue to be the light that you are. I know you said I'm light, but you are truly a light that so many
Praise God.
that you don't even know that are watching. So just continue to be you.
Yes. No problem, girl.
I'm Elizabeth White, and I will see everyone again in Liz's room.